Hey everyone, we are here tonight to make a pizza, which I know I've done before, but this time we are doing a totally different dough that doesn't take hours to rise in between. It doesn't have to proof. It's actually a Pampered Chef recipe, but it's called 5-minute dough, and it uses, instead of bread flour, it uses regular flour, and it uses yogurt, which has yeast in it, instead of a packet of active yeast. So in this bowl, I've got our dry ingredients, and we've got our flour. I'll have all the actual measurements posted online. Our flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and then I added to this rosemary and herb Pampered Chef spice, but you can add whatever spices you like if you want it to be a little sweeter and have some basil, or it just gives the crust a little bit more flavor. I recommend it with any dough recipe. So you get all your dry ingredients in the bowl and mix together, and then you add your yogurt, which is weird. I have seriously never made pizza dough ever like this. It's totally strange to me. But we're gonna test it and see. It might be the best pizza dough we've ever made. Let's find out. And another big difference with this is we actually bake the crust separately and then put our toppings and bake it again. So that's gonna be our first step here. So now we're just gonna kind of mix that together. All right, and then you're gonna wanna knead it kind of. So you're gonna wanna get in there with your hands. Mine are clean. And now I'm just gonna kind of, you know, like what you do with a meatloaf kind of, you just push it between your fingers and you just keep kneading the dough until it forms a ball, basically. Okay. And I'm using my Rock Crock grill stone for this. I don't have the pizza stone, but you could also use any pizza stone you have too. Obviously our stoneware is what Pampered Chef is most famous for. It's our best products. And our oldest and most original products, actually. It's what we started out as. So you could easily have the pizza stone and use that as well. I like this just because it goes in the oven, it goes on the grill, on the stovetop, in the freezer, so you can actually mix ice cream and add add-ins to ice cream and stuff and mix it on here, which I'm gonna try. Well, it's blizzard mode still here in Colorado, so I'm gonna try it when it gets a little warmer out. And I usually start making homemade ice cream in spring and keep it around all summer for the kids. I make it. So we'll have to try some fun stuff on there with that. It's just more versatile. The pizza stone pretty much just goes in the oven, you know? So this is a little more, but does a lot more. So I like both though. Okay. So you can see, we've got a ball of dough here. It took a few minutes to knead it, and we're still gonna just kind of knead it together a little bit more. And you're forming that gluten, which you kind of need for the pizza crust by doing that. It smells so good, I'm telling you. All right. Fabulous. That looks exactly how it's supposed to. Nice ball of dough. Now I need to get some flour on the counter to roll it out. It'll help it from not sticking if you put a little bit of layer of flour on your counter and then you put the dough on that, and then we're gonna roll it out. We've got our lightly floured surface right here that we're gonna put our dough on. And then I'm just gonna get a little of this flour on here too. And then you just kind of start to even it out and roll it out. You push from the center outward, it helps it make it a little bit more even. And just go in every direction that way from the center. You can see it getting bigger and bigger and thinner and thinner. You can see I've oiled this already, so you put a light layer of oil on the Rock Crock grill stone. But you can see the size of it, so that's kind of where we want to get this to. So we've got a long way to go here. Put a little more pressure on there. There we go, it's stretching out better now. This is a really nice dough, actually. I really like it so far. It's easy to work with. All right, got that stretched out. Now you just pull it to the sides too. And then it'll get bigger. And you'll get tears like that, and it's not a big deal. As you flatten it and loosen it out, you can just pinch it together and kind of mush it back together. It sticks, it's a dough, it'll be fine. You just want to get that right thickness to it. Flip our dough over. Helps it stay even. And it won't tear as bad. So now we are almost there, I'd say, pretty close. We want to get it, the edges just thinned out a little bit more. So you just keep doing this until it gets to the right shape and the size that you want for whatever pizza you're making. You can make a square pizza, whatever you want. I'm gonna make it the size of the rock crockstone. So we're about there. We're gonna transfer it over. And this is when I can really see how I want my shape and finish molding it. So I kind of want it to go to the edges. So there's a little bit much there, and not enough here. And then you can seam together all these little holes and still really smells so good. It's this herb spice we put in there, which, like I said, you could do a garlic, a basil. I like the herbs in the crust though. I think it goes well together. Okay, so we've got this almost out to the edges and all the holes filled in. Can kind of see, just working with it, getting it to the edges, spreading it out, making it even, and trying to seal some of these big tears and holes I've got in my dough. Little ones are fine, they'll close as it bakes. Just want to make sure it's really even. You don't want, you want it to cook evenly. You don't want to bite into one piece that's crunchy and burnt and one piece that's chewy and raw. So you want to make sure it's the same thickness all over. Great. Now we can move on to baking. This is going to be our first bake. Like I said, this is a 2-bake. So we bake this at a 450-degree oven. And remember, I oiled this. You need to use a nonstick or an oil too. I mentioned I had oiled the pan already. All right, we're good. And now we bake it. I want to say it was, let me double check. I want to say it was 14 minutes. It is 14 minutes. So we're going to bake this in the oven for 14 minutes at 450. And then we're gonna come back, put all our toppings on, and then bake it again for another, I think it's 6 to 9 minutes, but I will double check when we come back. So our pizza's been baking for 14 minutes. It's just the crust. And then we're gonna go take it out right now. I love this, it's from Pampered Chef too. It's like a little trivet set. And it's got, so you can keep them all nestled, or you can use these as pot holders, which is what we're gonna do. So we've got to pull this out, and then we're going to flip the crust, then put the toppings on, and then put it back in. This is just so crazy, it might work. So it's like halfway cooked, you can see. And it's only going to be cooked for a few more minutes just to warm up your toppings and melt the cheese really. So let me get something to flip this with. This should be interesting. I've never done this before or worked with this kind of dough before, so I don't know if it breaks or... No, it came out really well actually. It looks really good. It smells delicious. Okay, so now we put on our sauce and our cheese because we're just doing a cheese pizza, but you could do whatever you want. And this recipe comes with this Rock Crock grill stone, but it also comes with, and I will post it online, a variation to grill it. So So you could take the same stone and instead of putting it in the oven, it gives instructions on how to put it on the grill. And I think a barbecue chicken pizza on the grill is so good. It's like the perfect topping set to be grilled, you know, to get that char barbecue flavor. So I'm just kind of spreading sauce. My family likes saucy pizza. And you can see we still have a little hole, like a couple little holes in our pizza, but that's fine. It just means it's homemade with love. And I'm gonna coat it with sauce, quite a bit of sauce, and I'm just spreading it with the back of a spoon on here, and I'm leaving a little bit of edge for the crust. Just use whatever, you can make your own pizza sauce. It's like making spaghetti sauce, it's the same thing, it's a little thicker consistency. Or you can buy one at the store, your favorite one. I bought this one, I didn't make this one from scratch, I bought this one, it's one of my favorites. And just spread it on there. And then I always just save whatever's left for a dipping sauce. Like I'll warm the remainder of this up, and then people who like to dip the crust can dip the crust in the leftover sauce. That's why I have it in it's easy in the microwavable bowl. So we've got quite a thick layer of sauce on here. Again, you can go lighter or heavier. I personally, if I was eating a pizza, I like just fresh mozzarella, like the rounds, the chunks of mozzarella, and basil, fresh torn basil, and a very light sauce on a homemade, really good pizza. That's my favorite. But I don't eat pizza. I'm vegan and I don't eat pizza and gluten-free, so this wouldn't work for me. But I'm going to learn, and you guys are going to probably learn with me, how to make like a cauliflower crust and a gluten-free rice crust pizza as well for myself, so that I can indulge and enjoy it as well. So I'm just putting fresh mozzarella that's shredded on here now. And that's all we're gonna do. It's just simple and delicious. And then you bake this again for another 6 to 9 minutes is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna take our trivets and get this back in the oven. It smells so good. I'm telling you, adding the herbs to the crust is the best tip you'll get about making a homemade pizza with any recipe. All right, so we're gonna put this back in the oven for about 6 to 9 minutes. And if you put this in, if you're putting it in the oven, by the way, you're putting it in on your lowest rack that you can towards the bottom. And once we get this in and let it bake, I will come back and show you what it looks like. All right, so our pizza is out of the oven and it looks delicious.